Well, welcome back everybody. I bet you're wondering what's going on, eh? When I left you last time, we'd got the retractor trike, being delivered all the way from Australia. I managed to put the retractor trike together and we did a hang test. What else did we do? Well, then we had to put the line holders on the side. Now these line holders, they came from Nirvana. Nirvana sell these. They sell them, I think, because, you know, they sell trikes as well. And these fit onto the frame. Turn these there. Smaller than a 6. 4mm it seems then. Huh. No. 5mm it seems then. No. So 6mm don't fit. Too big. 5mm too small. Fucking hell, Nirvana. 7:30 seconds. You built it in black and white. Imperial. The second thing we had to do, as I mentioned before, the Nirvana frame is quite flexible, and when you launch a paramotor wing, you get a lot of strain on the lines, and that can actually flex and distort the hoop, the cage at the back, and break things, and it can damage your prop too. Well, I went and bought, again from Nirvana, they sell these cables that are designed for when they're using them on their trikes, and this gives some rigidity and some support to the frame. So I also installed those, and all was good. So just fitting the reserve. This is going on here. I'm just routing the reserve through into here, fastening it on in the top. So a bit of added security, and just for my fun, look what I've added on here. Okay, so you've got a little bit of a camera mount that moves around there, and fitted with a flotation device. Flotation, parachute, camera, retractor trike. So then the trike was ready to go, and as you know, it's a retractor trike. I've affectionately named it the Bush Buggy, but it hasn't yet been flown. Now I have to say about the Bush Buggy retractor trike, it's a prototype. It's the first one that's ever been built by Bob from Discovery Paramotors to fit on a Nirvana Instinct, and we kind of had to do this together. When I say we did it together, I did a lot of measuring and Bob did a lot of designing. So I have to say that it's not in general production at the moment. Now, he did say one of the issues that he's got, the reason there was a bit of to-ing and froing, you know, him in Australia, me in Spain, speaking by video call and such like, was because he doesn't have a Nirvana Instinct. So he's relying on my measuring to actually manufacture this retractor trike. So it turned out amazingly well, to say that that's how we did it. But if there is anybody out that way, Bob lives up in Arley Beach, is it, up in Queensland? If you're in Australia, that way on, you own a Nirvana Instinct, particularly if you fancy getting a cost price retractor trike, have a word with Bob. I'll put the link for Bob's retractor trikes down below again. If you message him, he's interested and said he would do somebody a deal if they were looking for a retractor trike for their Nirvana Instinct, if they'll lend him their Paramotor for a while so that he can measure it more accurately. So that, by and large, is it. We got the retractor trike ready. The next thing I did is I bought myself a rack to carry it on the back of my car. Now this rack is a two-lay. I used to call it Thule because it's spelt Thule. It's actually two-lay. We have a little bit of a problem. I forget the model number. I'll put a link to it down below. Europe. And we have a tow ball, you'll be able to, you guys see in the States and have a look yourself. The rack's probably not useful for you guys out there in the United States or you guys in Australia. You have a much better tow hitch system out there. For those of you who don't know, Europeans, in the United States and in Australia, they kind of have a square section, box section tube at the back, and the tow hitch is a ball is connected to slightly smaller square section steel, and it slides in and you pin it. So what you can actually do is you can take the tow ball out and you can slide and attach multiple attachments, including a frame and a cage at the back.
So
the tow balls in the UK don't do that. Don't know why. Seems a really good idea, but for some reason we don't. Our tow balls bolt onto a plate. You can get certain attachments, you know, if you're a farmer and want to tow a farm trailer, but that's about it. Luckily, Thule have made one of these little cage, one of the little frames for the back that connects to a tow ball, and it fastens quite securely. And I bought one of those, and I'll be honest with you, it does a bloody good job. So if you want something to carry your Paramotor around with, this is the thing. Now, it's probably not as cheap as other brands. Thule tends to be a little bit more expensive, but the quality is up there. And to be honest with you, it is solid as a rock. At first I was worried it was going to flex and move around and the Paramotor fall on the back or drag on the floor. But it never shifted at all. I mean, it's solid. I could even stand on it, and you know, I'm 144 kilograms, 143, and it never budged. Never budged when I stood on it. So it's really strong. So definitely recommended. Check that out.
So the life of a YouTuber then. So you'll see one camera on charge here. Then we've got an audio recorder on charge here. Then we've got a vlogging camera on charge here. We've got an extended battery pack that's not yet on charge because I'm running out of places to plug things in. We've also got the Nikon camera battery charger, not yet on charge because I'm running out of places to plug things in. Then we have GoPro batteries on charge. You need plenty of GoPro batteries, because the GoPro eats them for some reason. Sena headset batteries on charge. Remote control for the GoPro also needs to go on charge. Bloody hell, I've still got work to do.
So the next thing I wanted to do was I wanted to ground test it. Now I would have done a flight test straight away, but the weather wasn't very good. It was a little bit windy. It was kind of gusting 20 kilometers per hour. Well, it was blowing at 20 kilometers per hour, gusting at 24. So that's out of the range of my experience. And I really wanted to take it up in nil wind the first time, just to get the feel and to understand the way that it flew a little bit more. I also thought it was a great opportunity to do an audio test as well. I've got the Sena Tough Talk audio. I've had a little bit of a problem trying to figure out how to get the audio out of the Sena because there isn't a plug to plug it straight into a recorder, which I think is a bloody oversight. You can connect it via Bluetooth, and I wanted to take advantage of the noise cancelling feature that the headphones have. So the idea behind noise cancelling is it has separate microphones that pick up the ambient outside noise and subtract that from the sound that goes through the microphone, and that way you get cleaner audio and less noise. When I tested it, I used my iPhone as a recorder. So I used a recording app and connected to Bluetooth, via Bluetooth to my phone, and recorded using that. And it was bloody awful. In actual fact, it seemed to make a better job of cancelling out my voice and enhancing the sound of the motor.
Whenever I'm with you, I am alright. There's something about the way you make me feel inside. I'm counting down the days till we fly away, heading to the sun, only you and me. Don't wanna waste another day being stuck here in this place. No, I wanna hold your hand in mine, watch the sunset in lose control. Play songs on the radio too loud. This could be magical. Whoa, whoa. This could be magical. Whoa, whoa. To escape, and here we are, driving narrow streets in a rusty car, leading to the sea. Think we're getting close. We should take a pic, baby, strike a pose. I remember every day that I spent right here with you. Yeah, you are the one who makes me feel as good as I do. Baby, I wanna still act like we are 22 right now. Just let go, lose control. Play songs on the radio too loud. This could be magical. Whoa, whoa. This could be magical. Whoa, whoa.
Okay, recording. Okay. Sync. And second sync. Okay. Right. Chubsters, I hope you can hear me. Part of this, what I'm doing now, is a test. It's a test of comms, you can see here, test of camera, test of trike. So we're not going to fly today. This is ground test. So I'm just wheeling out the old bush buggy. We're going to take her for a little scoot around this field. So this is the airfield. Oh. In we get. Hello. Okay. Getting into the harnesses. Not quite as graceful.
So, clear prop. Okay.
So I was a bit worried and a bit disappointed. Spent a lot of money on those Senna Tough Talks. I will say at this point, I tried it with the Senna backpack on my GoPro 4. It's not been tested properly yet, but it seemed 1,000 times better. So stand by with that. I'm a little bit concerned now, but I'm feeling a bit happier after testing it earlier on today with the Senna backpack. So let's see how we go with that. So ground testing then, and I wanted to get into the trike and I wanted to zoom it around and see what it was like, because there were some good moments on that video, particularly when I was managing to hit over 40 kilometers per hour and holding the throttle for only a few seconds. I mean, that bloody thing shifts, that Nirvana, when you stick it on some wheels. I had a whale of a time. Why do you want to fly when you can zoom around a field at 40 kilometers per hour, eh? So that's what we did, and I had a day of it. Too windy to fly. So then Saturday came. That was today, and Saturday was test fly day. So I went down to the local Paramotor field. The local instructor there, he joined me, so I got some support and some comfort and somebody to ring the helicopter. I do have insurance, just to remind yourselves that the only legal requirement at the moment in Spain to fly a paramotor is that if you're flying from public land, that you have insurance. So I do have insurance. You don't have to have a license to get insurance. I got my insurance through AXA. It's a little bit unusual. You have to insure with a registered serial number of a wing, of a glider. So I can only actually fly my glider legally, or insured. But that's fine, because I'm only flying my Ozone Roadster 2 at the moment. No, I'm not flying it, as things might work out. So we went down to the field, and this is what happened.
I don't know whether you can see me. It's dark. It's a bit chilly. It's about 6 in the morning, which is not too bad, I guess. And I'm just on my way down to the airfield. Still dark. Hoping to kind of be set up for not long after first light. Test flight.
Well, Chubsters, hopefully that's recording audio. Now, welcome to the test flight. I have to warn you about the audio. I did an audio test, you might have seen earlier in the video, and it failed terribly as soon as we applied power. I'm not sure what's going on there. It really did sound dreadful. So once I actually get motoring, and I say motoring rather than flying, because who knows, it's been a long journey, but once I do get motoring, you'll probably lose audio. Right, so we're just going to get sorted out with a wing. Engine's running on its own there while there's nobody around. I think the guys will be down soon from the old club. In the meanwhile, I'm going to set out my stall, and by stall, I don't mean wing stall, I mean my market stall. Now, wing's a little bit, feels a bit damp. I think it's cold and it's hitting this warm, moist air out here. Yep. Engine's stopped. And we'll give it a good warm up in a bit. Right, I'm going to turn the camera off because the GoPro batteries are bloody rubbish. Right, Chubsters, wing is laid out and I am just fastening myself in. Have the flight suit on, don't laugh. It really is about safety at the moment. Maiden flight, etc. See, radio. See, audible. Okay.
Now, I have to be fair here. I did a little bit of analysis on what went wrong. By the way, those props were 900 Australian dollars. What's that? It's about 500 or 600. I'm not putting that in. By the way, those props are pretty bloody expensive. What happened? I've done a bit of crash analysis. I've had a word with a few people. The instructor was there. We've looked at the video. I've picked the brains of experts and things because I had an idea of what I thought had happened myself. But I'm just one fairly experienced guy. It was good to get the input from other people. At first, I wanted to blame Nirvana. Because, as I've said before, it is a pretty flimsy cage that's on the Nirvana, and it is. I would say flimsy. Flimsy is the wrong word. I'll be fair. There's a lot of flex in the cage, and in normal circumstances, that flex in that cage shouldn't cause you a major problem. But if you butt land, as we've discussed before, or if lines pull tight on the cage, it has a tendency to flex and deform and can hit the prop. So at the first I was blaming Nirvana for this, but it turns out it wasn't Nirvana's fault. If things had been right, I don't think what happened today would have happened. So we'll just quickly go through what happened. Now, to stop the flex, as I said before, there's some steel wires that actually attach to about 10 centimetres below the joint on the cage. They go down to the supporting arms where the harness fastens into the paramotor. And that's what Nirvana use on their trikes. I'm fairly sure that's tried and tested, and it normally works fairly well. But you can see on this video, 95% of what went wrong was probably pilot error to start with. But I would have expected the Nirvana to be able to survive the pilot error because it wasn't major pilot error. As you can probably see as I set off, the wing wasn't coming up straight, it came up to the left. In hindsight, I should probably have just aborted, but I felt as though I could get the wing back into position again. It had inflated, and I have had the wing down on the left before when I've flown, especially when you're doing banked turns on the ground, when you're doing turns left on the ground. The wing tip will touch, and I turned the trike towards the wing and I pulled on the right brake to try and bring the wing over my head. So what did I do wrong? Well, I probably gave it a bit too much brake. That was one thing, and that's because I haven't flown for a while. I hadn't kind of got the feel, and I did stick in too much brake, and it seems that the wing was starting to come back over my head, but too much brake sent the wing backwards on the right hand side. So I made a bit of an error, but I was expecting to make a couple of errors on my first launches just to get the feel of things again, so I could get the old muscle memory back. Too much import, the wing fell behind me. I wasn't going very fast. It might look on the video footage as it makes things look a little bit faster, but in actual fact, this was barely walking pace. So I wasn't moving very much. I was just trying to control that wing and get it above my head. I didn't want to go much more than a walking pace until I felt really happy before I gave it a bit more throttle and decided to commit. But what happened was, when it fell back into the power zone again, as you can see, and pulled backwards quite hard. Now, there wasn't a huge amount of pull that went into it, but the top of the frame just gave way and it just snapped. And this is what made me think it was the Nirvana. I just came away thinking, well, these Nirvanas, they're just built like matchstick toys and no good. It didn't take the strain. Now, it's fair to say that they're probably not as strong as several cases, but I don't think this was Nirvana's fault. You probably notice on my Nirvana that the top strut looks different to the others, and this is because it was homemade. It wasn't made by me, it was made by a previous owner, because his helmet kept banging the spar and it was annoying him. So he made a spar that was a little bit different. Now, that's worked well for him. He's flown like that for a while. Why wouldn't it? It's been a perfectly good spar. But it was made, out of an existing spar, and there's a little plastic T-piece on the top of the Nirvana spars that connect into the hoop segments. And he'd resined the plastic into some stainless steel tube, so some stainless steel round tube with some resin in, and then the plastic piece off one of the other spars was put in. Now what happened, as you'll see on the video, is the lines came and they pressed on the top of the hoop. There was little support there from these cables that I got at the side, and it pulled backwards. But the frame was holding its own, and what would normally happen is you would expect those lines to pull, but to slide off the loop of the hoop, off the top of the hoop. But in this circumstance, it kind of didn't, and you might see here that the line kind of stuck, and it stuck, I believe, on the plastic on the top. Now, I'm not 100% sure why it actually stuck there, but you can see afterwards, after it breaks, that line stays there. It's like it's stuck there. It's kind of stuck itself into the plastic, and I think maybe it's found a bit of a groove there where it connects in, and that's held the line there. And then as we applied the power, it's really levered on that part where the line is. Now the next thing that happened then is the plastic top just gave way. It snapped. The hoop was holding its own, but that plastic snapped. And when I've taken it off and had a look at it, the resin that connects that plastic piece in was very brittle. I was able to break it with my fingers. So it's probably age, I don't know, I'm not an expert when it comes to resins and things, but it was very brittle. I've been able to get bits and just snap it in my fingers. So I think what happened is the resin that was used to hold that T-piece in just wasn't strong enough now, and there was a fair amount of strain went onto it, and it snapped that T-piece. And as soon as it did that, the hoop was loose at the top, and it just went backwards, hit the prop, and broke in other places. So 95% pilot error, and probably 5% because there was a part on the Paramotor that wasn't designed to be there. And as I've said, there's no hard feeling from the previous owner. He made that as a foot launching Paramotor. It wouldn't have normally been a problem. I should have thought about that and spotted it, and I didn't do. So that's my bad. I've broke my Paramotor again. The worst part about it is I haven't bloody flown again, have I? So sodding close. Today I was supposed to be cracking a bottle of wine, bashing out a video and sitting there drinking the bottle of wine and waiting to chat to everybody who congratulated me on flying again. It's not bloody happened. So what's the plan now? Well, luckily I've got enough hoofs. I have enough hoops and spars to effect a repair, so I've got spare bits and pieces for that. I'm thinking about ordering a brand new spar though, just for the top section, because that's maximum strength. I'm then going to go and get a wooden prop that's a lot cheaper. I'm going to send these other two props I've got that are damaged off for repair. There's somebody local that does repairs on them, so I'm going to send them off to him for repair. In the meanwhile, I'm just going to get myself a wooden prop just until we get things working properly, or we get this fat side up into the air. So I'm going to replace the spar bits, put a wooden prop on it, and then I'm going to go again. So I'm just going to kind of figure out, get myself a wooden prop. That shouldn't take too long. If all goes well, we get off the ground, it's all working well and I'm happy, I'm going to invest in the double loop system from Nirvana. Again, it's not cheap, but you know, in fact it's not bloody cheap at all, but they do a double loop system now that strengthens the hoop on the Nirvana, so you put an extra loop in it, extra hoop should I say, you know. So I'm going to invest in that. If everything goes well and I don't end up scrapping the whole Nirvana frame idea, I'm going to go with that, and then I'll put a carbon tri-prop back on again. So there's the plan. So I don't know whether it's bad luck or what, you know, but I'm still enjoying the process. You know, don't be put off. I'm not. I've been enjoying the process. It's been a catalogue of errors. I hope you've been entertained. and I hope that you don't repeat some of the mistakes that I'm making. That's why I'm here, Chubsters. That's why this fat guy's out here breaking his stuff, so you don't break your stuff. That being said, really happy with the bush buggy, the retractor trike. I'm just going to get these broken bits sorted out, and then we're going to go again. Oh, what I did want to mention as well, one final mistake that I probably made that I thought was the right way to go. I actually launched with the trims full in slow. When you do that, there's a lot more pull on the wing, tends to pull back into the power zone more. And I think that also will have contributed. So next time I do the takeoff, I'll set the trims out a little bit at the takeoff line. I set them at slow, just thinking I'm fat and heavy and you know, wanted to do a bit of a slow takeoff and a slow landing. But in retrospect, I think that's turned out to be a mistake. So don't repeat that one neither. In the meanwhile, thanks for following the journey. Okay, thanks for all the well wishes. I've had a lot of well wishes and stuff. You're some great guys out there and girls and stuff. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, please give me a like and hit the subscribe button. If you clonk the little bell icon as well, you'll get notifications when I make a video the next time. So thank you again for watching. Please give it a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Yeah.